So in Jacques' case, V wasn't for victory, but for vitiligo. Not a life-threatening condition, but still you chose to leave the game because of it. Jacques, why?
Yes, well, actually, what had happened is, with vitiligo, when you scar, the pigmentation doesn't actually come back. So I had initial scars, little scars on my hand. I entered the competition, obviously playing my game, lack of nutrients, a bit of stress involved. And,
a lot of stress, I'm sure.
I'm sure, quite a lot. And what happened is it just started to spread quite hectically on my hands. And I tried to ignore it. Obviously, I didn't want to show any weakness in the game. But I did go to the medics and I asked them what they thought of the whole situation. And they told me what the risk could be. But anyway, what actually started happening is that the sun was starting to hit the exposed skin. And that was starting to get quite sore. So that actually led to my final decision. And people weren't exactly sure, about why I was leaving. But at the end of the day, I don't regret the choice. It was my health first, and this is permanent at the end of the day, so I had to make the choice.
I think you made the right choice, Jacques, especially from this show. We're all about prevention, and you made the wise choice as far as health is concerned, so well done.
Thank you.
Dilshad, let's take a step back for a moment. What is vitiligo? We know it's a condition, a pigment condition of the skin.
Well, vitiligo, I think, to put it into layman's terms, is where the melanocytes or the brown cells go to sleep. If I look at it from a medical point of view, it's an autoimmune disease. So you can think of it as your body fighting itself. So your body is basically saying to the brown cells, I don't like you right now, and sends off little messengers to the brown cells, and then they, for some reason, either go to sleep permanently or they go to sleep and then they can reawake.
How long have you had vitiligo, Sean?
Well, I actually started on my legs when I was 5 years old. It spread quite vigorously all over my bottom legs. And we went to so many specialists and doctors, obviously, to find out what this was. It was quite a shock. Obviously, little kids found it quite gross, at that stage. And that's quite a mental thing for me, to take on. But I moved to the coast. I started doing gymnastics, and it completely took it out of my mind, and it did reverse. The normal melanocyte pigmentation did come back, and so we proved them wrong. And that's when I realized that it was as much mental as it was actually a physical disorder.
But now you talk about your hand being permanent. So that's not going to go away, or is it?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It could come back, but it will take long to come back, or it could come back quite quickly. So, I mean, it's quite an unpredictable disorder as well, so we never know.
Well, help us on that, Dilshad. The flare-ups, does it come back, doesn't it go away? What's the prognosis of it?
Your melanocyte reactivation, again, is patient-specific. So your body will decide when it wants to switch on again. But you have to realize that there are certain sites, like the acral sites, the hand sites, where vitiligo can be permanent. Right, and you can have it on your face, around your mouth, your folds of your body. So again, the more widespread it is, right, it may be more difficult, right, to actually reactivate the cell and for you to get repigmentation. With regards to your legs, we were lucky. You understand? And I think also being out in the sun in some way, for whatever reason, you repigmented. But your hands, again, would be a different story.
Now melanocytes, sorry, Jacques, melanocytes actually protect the skin in terms of sun's rays. So now the lack of melanocytes, or pigmentation in certain areas, is dangerous, is it not?
Yes.
For sun exposure.
It is. That's why when he said his hands were paining, it was the sun that was basically causing his skin to burn. And because there was no melanocytic protection there, he was getting intense sunburn, and then the pain and the cracking of his fingers.
Tell me about the stigma associated with vitiligo. I mean, you're a performer, you're on stage all the time. Do people look at your hands and think, "Ooh, what is that? Is that infectious?" Or
well,
have you had that experience?
That is a main perception, of course, and that's something I've had to live with my whole life. And I think that's the mental aspect, is that you've just got to accept it. And as we mentioned early on, the first step to recovery is acceptance, and like anything. And the more I accept this and just move forward, I think the more it heals, perhaps.
Talking about healing, it's management, not cure. How do you manage this, Dilshad?
It all depends on the site of the vitiligo and the extent of the vitiligo. And you can start off, like he said, he initially was given topical corticosteroids, but they'd have to be given like your steroid creams for a period of time and under a doctor or a specialist dermatologist supervision, because you don't also want skin thinning.
Okay.
Right, then we have things like steroid sparers, which are your new generation drugs, and your creams, which don't thin your skin. Then there's also light therapy, and there's specific types of light therapy where it centers around your UVA or your UVB, and again to try and stimulate your melanocytes or your brown cells. And they're also looking at new types of lasers to try and stimulate your melanocytes. And even they're looking at surgical grafting now, where they take melanocytes from different sites of your body and put it into your vitiligo areas.
Dilshad, the treatments you described are long-term treatments. Is there anything you can do in the short term?
I think cosmetic camouflage is also very important from a psychological point of view. And there's some good cosmetic makeup out there, because vitiligo is a psychologically debilitating disease. And what's so wow about Jacques is that he is self-confident, and that comes through, and he's accepted his disease. But especially for the darker patient, the patient of my color or darker, there may be a huge contrast between the whiteness and the brownness of normal skin. And that would then make them feel socially inadequate.
So Jacques, having heard all of that, would you employ any of those treatments, or are you happy to kind of carry on as you have been?
No, I definitely try anything that comes my way. I'd like to obviously recover and see what could work out there. Absolutely, I'd be willing to try anything.
Someone struggling with vitiligo at the moment, watching, going, I've got exactly what Jacques got. What would you say to them?
I would just simply say, just as I said earlier, the first step is to recovery is acceptance. Just accept it. Don't feel ashamed by it. I find that the mental aspect is so important, as is everything else, of course. But just accept it and move forward. It isn't a disease. You can't catch it. It's simply just white skin.